rolling as they spank the Spartans. We'll have the highlights. We'll also talk with Steve Breston, Michigan's all-around playmaker, and we'll look ahead to a tough road trip as we scout Penn State. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Absa Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Sirius Satellite Radio. By the University of Michigan Alumni Association, uniting the leaders and best. www.umalumni.com. By State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. And by Pontiac, official performance machines of Michigan and the NCAA. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Well, a nice day for the U of M Wolverines. They get a victory over Michigan State, 31-13. Coach, congratulations. You beat your in-state rival. It's always a big day.
Well, I thought our guys came up with one of their best efforts of the season, Jim.
And that's one of those games where, you know, even though the Spartans are struggling coming in, you talked about it afterwards. That was a physical, tough, hard-nosed football game. They didn't leave anything in the locker room.
No, they didn't. And, you know, I thought both teams played extremely hard. It was a very physical game. And I think the key for us was we got off to a fast start in the stadium, got the lead, and then I thought we did a good job.
And the other thing, Michigan State didn't help themselves. They made way too many mistakes, I think, on the road against a good team like Michigan.
Well, it was our crowd was really into it. I think they had some penalties that helped us, but I thought they played very, very hard.
The most important thing you had to do was run the ball and stop the run. And what really helped you in the first kickoff of the game, you were able to get real good field position.
Well, Garrett Rivas kicked the ball into the real short zone of the field there in the right corner, and Johnny Sears, a young kid that's really coming on, made a great tackle. We took over, held them, and then got great field position at the 40-yard line.
You know, it's great when you're working with a 60-yard field, isn't it?
Well, it is, and on our first running play, Mike Hart ran 16 yards around left end, and Steve Breston is making a lot of plays that move the chains, and he's done it all year long.
Here's your first score pass to Adrian Arrington. Nice catch here, and you go up 7-0.
Well, Adrian got open down in there, and we had good protection. That came after a play that had to be reviewed, Jim, where we're ruled as a fumble, and we're able to keep the ball because of instant replay.
Well, here's the big thing stopping the run. 3rd and 1, and they give it to Kulkrich. They're big back, and you stone him.
A 260-pound guy, and we had great penetration on the left side, and guys really reacting well to the football. Here's a great punt by Fields out of his own end zone, 70 yards or close to it in the air. And Steve caught the ball, got good yardage. We got great field position again.
And you go to the run again.
Well, there's Mike over left end, cutting back, making an excellent cut behind the over-pursuing defense.
And then you go deep. You knew that you'd get some single coverage. You knew you were going to take this shot, didn't you?
Well, it's a great throw. It was a great call. And, of course, Mario found a way to get behind the defense again. And it's remarkable what he's done in these last 4 or 5 games.
It's 14-0 now. You're in the second quarter, and they start to put a drive together.
Well, Michigan State did some things to be able to protect the passer here. They hit Stanton or Trannon for a big first down.
And then they come back here and hit T.J. Williams. They rolled the pocket and protected Stanton that way, didn't they?
Well, yeah, and they did a great job of that. They kept moving the pocket, and they made it very difficult to get to him. And here they miss a field goal. This guy had been extremely productive all year long, but pulled one to the left, and so we got good field position again.
Yeah, kept the lead at 14-0, and you continue to run the ball. Here goes Mike for 22. And then you come back, you talked about Steve Breston making plays to move the chains. He's not getting the big scores, but he's making big plays.
No, but we got good protection here, Jim, and Chad stands in the pocket, and now Steve does a great job. A lot of guys would not have made that first down, but he gets up the field, moves the chains, and those are valuable plays.
Then you get a field goal partially blocked, and yet it still goes through, and that's a big, big 3 points. It puts you up 17-0 at half.
Well, Jim, the interesting thing about that play is we took 3 points off the board earlier.
You are just a gambler, aren't you?
Well, now I thought about sometimes if you turn the ball over or we had missed a field goal there, then you say, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
But
or you would have said that for me.
No. Normally, it's not a good thing to take points off the board, but in that instance, in the red zone, you almost had to.
Well, and the other thing is, Jim, it enabled us to use some more time off the clock at the end of the first half, keep our defense off. But, it worked out well for us.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the second half highlights. But first, we hear from Prescott Burgess, who said the game plan to stop Drew Stanton was simple.
He's a mobile quarterback, he can run, throw. So we just had to make sure he wouldn't scramble and get out the pocket. He got out a few times, but we gathered and made the tackle.
What the position calls for, just line blocking, fullback blocking, tight end, and just Mike and Kevin and Brandon just running, finding the holes, and just had a good day running today.
Good day running against Michigan State. I think only twice in the last 37 years the team that has rushed for less yardage has won the game. And you guys rushed for more yardage on Saturday against the Spartans, and you won the game. It's an important part of football, isn't it?
Well, Jim, it's an important part of, I think, our defensive success because we help control the clock. We've had very good time of possession, and as well as our defense has played, we've also helped them.
And you're up 17-0 at half. You get the ball to open the second half, and I thought this drive was really critical.
Well, Obi Olivo has really done a good job at fullback for us, and there on the draw play gets a good block, and we get out of the short end of the field, and here we get a penalty. That's a third down play, and that keeps the drive alive.
Yeah, they gave him a late hit out of bounds, and that keeps the drive alive. That's the mistake, some of the mistakes Michigan State made to kind of let you guys stay in this drive here opening the second half, which I thought was vitally important.
Well, the one thing we got to do in the second half is Kevin Grady got some good carries, made a good run there. And here, Jim, we get a break. Chad, I guess, had enough velocity on that ball. The corner undercut our receiver, Mario, and probably should have had an interception there.
But he didn't, and it was a score, so you're up 24-0, and then this is Michigan State's first touchdown drive of the game.
Well, that's a big play there. We had a zone blitz on, and they got outside, got well protected, and then on a fourth down play after we had stopped them, and they come up here with a good goal line drive. Our defense was very stout here, very stiff, but they got it down to the 2 or 3 inches away and knocked it in there.
But as you said, the defense really made them work for it.
Yes, they did. And Jim, I think this is one of the most important drives of the day right here.
Kevin Grady goes on the ground here. And again, you're gashing them, and I think that's another function of the time of possession. Their defense is a little tired.
They had a couple of guys go out, and here Kevin Grady's running with good power. He almost broke one there.
And how about this run by your true freshman?
Well, everybody's blocked. Adam Krause is doing a great job there, and Alex Mitchell and Ruben Riley and Jake Long and Mark Beal, and this kid knew what to do with it.
That kid happens to be Brandon Miner. Made it 31-7 at that point, and that was the end of the third quarter. We go to the fourth quarter, and Michigan State keeps coming after you. Nice play fake by them, and they hit their tight end.
I thought Michigan State really hung in there and stayed in the game. They made a good play there to their tight end. But here, a big play on fourth down. Jamar Adams comes up with his first interception of his career, and that is one happy guy.
And pressure on Stanton helped that ball be thrown probably where it shouldn't have been thrown.
And that was a moving pocket. They moved him to the right there, and you're right. We had good pressure, and that caused him to throw the ball up. Jamar made a good play.
They come back again. You guys couldn't get out of the own end zone, and here they were able to get down to the goal line. Great play here by Prescott Burgess. Once again, going back to your defense making them really work.
Well, I thought Prescott Burgess may very well have had his best game in the Michigan State game. Had a couple of big plays early and a great hit there, but then on the quarterback keeper, Stanton gets it in the end zone.
And you call this play by Leon Hall one of the biggest of the game on their onside kick.
Well, if they get the ball here, they've still got time to do some damage, and that is one of the most dangerous plays in football. And Leon came up with the football and then comes right back and intercepts the ball.
31-13, the final, a big victory. Anytime you beat Michigan State, it's big.
Well, Jim, it keeps us where we want to be. I think what I like about this game is I think we got better.
That's what you're supposed to do.
We played well. We played hard, and you know, in some of these rivalry games, you know, you're always happy to win, but I think it's really special when you can come out and say we won and we got better, and I think we did that.
And the other thing that was kind of fun about the game on Saturday, and you kind of had to share time with the Detroit Tigers, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I think we're all happy for the Tigers.
Yeah,
what a great thing they've done, Jim Leland and the Tiger organization, and you know, it's just great for this city.
Well, they beat the Yankees and they're in the ALCS, but
yeah.
You'd hear a roar come up from the crowd, and you guys are like, what's going on a little bit?
Well, we announced the score about 100 times.
But you're happy. You've been a lifelong Tiger fan anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The one thing, too, about this game is it keeps you in a momentum situation because you've played some tough teams. And even though Michigan State's record's down a little bit, that still was a tough physical game to play.
Jim, we've had 6 physical games.
Yeah.
I mean, teams that, you know, really played hard. And so we've got a tough turnaround game here after. It's kind of like after playing Notre Dame, we had to play an outstanding Wisconsin team. Now we got to go into State College and play a very, very good Penn State team.
Yeah, it's a tough road in the Big Ten. Your schedule's got a murderer's row, basically. When we come back, we'll meet Steve Breaston up close and personal. But first, we hear from Jake Long. Said it was a very workmanlike day against the Spartans on Saturday.
I think we played pretty well all around. Still some mistakes on the backside. We didn't get the guys we wanted to get. But I think overall we did pretty well.
Steve Breaston has been a playmaker since he arrived in Ann Arbor as a high school phenom from Pennsylvania. He's already in the record books. His performance in the Rose Bowl against Texas in a losing effort was astounding. But it hasn't been easy. Nagging little injuries have cost him time that would have made his numbers even better. Steve's focus on making a play on every snap can even sometimes cost him, and he knows it.
You can't be over anxious, too excited. Like, I think that's the biggest thing with me. Just I have to let's just let the game come and play. I've been learning that, you know, just making big plays all your life. You try to sometimes you get caught up in a forcing issue, and that leads to mistakes. And you don't never want to be out of whack. You don't want to hurt your team. And I think that's like probably I really just gotta just stay focused and like don't get too excited. Just calm down, you know, take it all in, let the game come to you.
He's gotten better every year he's played as a Wolverine, and he has no regrets about his decision to display his talents in Ann Arbor.
It's everything. The experience here is it's just great, and you know, like I've been through my ups and downs, you know. So I mean that comes with the territory, and it's been a great learning experience. You have great people around you, you have great support, and it's like I said, it's fun playing on a national stage also. So I mean, it's just everything you dream about.
Besides the on-the-field growth, Breaston has grown off the field too. He readily admits he's a different guy today than the skinny young freshman of 5 years ago.
When I first got here, I ain't said a word. I ain't said a word to nobody. Just walked around. I don't think anybody ever thought I was going to say a word since I got here. But I hang around people like Chris Perry and people like that, just always talking, and just it kind of got me out of my shell. Once I got comfortable, I just started talking a lot more. And you know what I'm saying? It's just I never thought I'd be the person I am right now. You know, just going through the experience, I'm more talkative and more vocal. So I mean, I'm more comfortable just speaking to people. You know, asked me to do this interview 5 years ago, I was just probably had my head down, just hanging around. So, I mean, I came a long way. I think I came a long way.
Steve Breaston, he's really a delightful kid, and what a talent. Like you said, it's a little tough because he was a big-time playmaker, you know, and now kind of Mario's there and Adrian's making plays, and yet he still hangs in there and makes the big plays that may not show up in the scorebooks as much.
Jim, you got to remember, he played quarterback in high school. So the transition here, and then, you know, he had so many great punt returns, kickoff returns. Everybody's thinking, well, but he has developed into he's having a great year as a wide receiver. Now, as you mentioned, he hadn't caught some beat, but he has moved the chains. He's made tough catches, tough yardage. He is one of the best leaders on our football team. He still doesn't talk all the time, but when he talks, everybody listens.
Just like Merrill Lynch, right? Hey, when we come back, we'll scout the Nittany Lions from Penn State. But first, we hear from Jamar Adams. Talks about the troubles you can undergo in Happy Valley.
If you go on the road, you're in front of, this week going to be 100-some-odd-thousand people. And so it feels like it's us, 60s, you know, 70 guys, whatever it may be, against 100,000. And so we kind of get a little tighter together. You know, it's on the road, so we know we're going to have crowd noise offense. So we try to buckle down a little tighter on the road.
Next week because it's a night game, 8 o'clock. So, I mean, their crowd's going to be, you know, going crazy probably with the whiteout and all. So, it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to go in there and play football.
Official visit.
From the frying pan into the fire, the Wolverines, after beating Michigan State, have to go on the road next week and play another night game at Happy Valley.
But it's a great place. It's a great place to play a night game, Jim.
It is?
Beautiful place to play.
You've never played a night game
You've been there
before. I know, I've been there.
Yes,
but
we have.
When did we play a night game there?
97 we played at night. Maybe
no,
it
I
started
was like
in the
at
afternoon.
3:30. It was a November 3:30 game.
Well, it's always fun to go down there.
It is, and there'll be over 100,000
fans.
people.
Yeah.
And one of the great names in college football, Joe Paterno.
Coach Paterno. Yep, quite a guy.
He is quite a guy. And they've got some players. Anthony Morelli, their quarterback. You said he came out the same year Chad Henne came out.
Well, they're both from Pennsylvania. Morelli's from Pittsburgh. Both came out the same year. Two of the probably 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the country that year.
And you like Tony Hunt, don't you?
Tony Hunt, we recruited hard. I thought he was going to come to Michigan. And he's had a great career, 230-pounder, runs with great power, and he can hit the home run as well.
And one of their real quick guys, Deion Butler. He's one of their game changers.
Yes, he is, and had a great year a year ago, and off to an even better start this year.
Penn State's known for defense. Ed Johnson, obviously big, but Puzlesny is their linebacker that everybody thinks is linebacker you, and then their safety, Anthony Scarato, also can play back there.
Well, he's the top candidate for the Butkus Award. And Justin King and Scarato are 2 young guys, sophomores, that got a lot of playing time a year ago, dynamite athletes.
Now, the difference in this Penn State team from a year ago, they're basically the same team schematically, except Michael Robinson makes a big difference. He was more of a running threat than Morelli is, right?
Well, there's no question about that, Jim, but Morelli, I think, has got great potential as a quarterback. He has as strong an arm as anybody in college football. He can throw it, and he's got a lot of young, great receivers and a great running back. So, and Penn State is always an outstanding defense.
That's what I was going to say. Defensively, they're going to provide problems up there because they have guys that get to the ball, and they're always tough. Linebacker, their front 7.
Well, the defensive lineman Alford that started for him a year ago is a great athlete, having a great year. So they don't lack for players. Connor, the other linebacker, is having an outstanding year. Some people think he'll be an all Big Ten linebacker.
And it's on the road in Penn State, and so that means you guys got to, again, come together like you did at Minnesota, and just, you know, it's us against the world kind of.
Well, you got to deal with a very, very loud crowd, and
that lion sound they do in
yeah,
the PA.
I love that.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun, Penn State is one of those places that, you know, it's special. and they've got a great tradition, and the Michigan-Penn State is
You love
a
playing
big game.
in a game like that.
Yep.
That's why you go to Michigan, right?
Yep.
The other thing we ought to look at, the Big Ten standings at this point. Even though it's early, things are beginning to shake out in the Big Ten. You and Ohio State remain on top, unbeaten in the conference. Wisconsin, Iowa, Penn State, Purdue, all with one loss.
Well, I think Iowa and Wisconsin, obviously outstanding defensive teams. Wisconsin, I think, is probably the best defensive team we played this year. But there's a lot of football to be played. So I don't know that anything's shaping up yet.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go.
Exactly. I mean, you're only halfway through. And the Big Ten, it's October, November when the Big Ten is decided.
Yep.
All right. Make sure you join us next week right here, same time, same place. It's Michigan versus Penn State. We'll have it all on Michigan.